Hello, lucky queens. Welcome back to another episode of the Lucky from Within podcast. I am really excited to talk about this particular topic because I see this all of the time in the manifestation realm in terms of, yes, let's manifest it. Let's manifest this free thing. Let's wait. It's this energy of waiting until your manifestation comes into your reality. But the thing is, yes, you can do that. Absolutely. But it might be years down the track until you attract that particular thing. But we are not about that vibe here in the Lucky From Within podcast. We are about the vibe of quantum leaping. We are about the vibe of collapsing timelines to attract what it is that you desire in the fastest timeline. That is what we are all about. And I know that you have been waiting in this energy of waiting even without consciously realizing it, that you're waiting for this particular thing, waiting for divine timing, when divine timing is a load of BS. Divine timing is what we have created because the universe is always just responding to who we are being. The universe wants to give it to you right now. But the universe can't give it to you until you are aligned with the frequency to attract it in. So I wanted to talk about the experience that I had recently with upgrading to business class rather than waiting to receive a free business class upgrade, to receive it in a way that was effortless and easeful and etc., etc., I made the decision to become the version of myself who, when the opportunity arises, steps into and upgrades from that energetic frequency. So, I want to explain how this actually relates to quantum leaping so that you can apply it to your life right now, to the visions that you have, to your own experience of business class, to elevate into that identity, the version of you who flies business class. So at the beginning of this year, a desire for me was to really step into the $1 million version of me. And if you've been watching this podcast or listening to this podcast for quite some time, you would have heard the earlier episode of me talking about this is who I am now. I'm stepping into the $1 million identity. I'm stepping into the version of myself who experiences this level of life that I truly desired. And within that identity, one thing that really stood out to me that I would have loved to experience was flying business class, specifically in Emirates, because it has just been such a desire for me to be in that environment, to say, hey, this is who we have become. Because if you know, and how I speak about manifestation is that, yes, desires, they've been placed in your heart for a reason, because that reason is the fact that you, just seeing this recording, that you are meant to become the version of you who is experiencing those desires, because it's the level of impact that you create when you step into that version of you. The world, like the level of healing that you do, the level of rewiring that you do, which raises your consciousness, which then has an impact on the world around you. It is the least selfish thing that you can do is to fly business class. Let's just leave it at that, because I can go on and on and on about this. But as I was elevating my identity over these past 6 months, and I've spoken about this for, this past 6 months has been this quantum leap of my life, and we are still quantum leaping and elevating. But from, that January of setting that intention to who I stepped into when we went over to Europe. So it was so fascinating. We flew to Europe with Emirates. And we actually made the intention, if there's an opportunity to upgrade, this would be the flight to do it. And the flight over there, there wasn't any opportunity to upgrade to business class. And we're just like, that's totally fine. It'll happen, when it's meant to happen, etc., etc. And it was so interesting because on the flight over there, we actually got sat at a row of three, so three seats on the Emirates plane, and we had a free seat next to us, which never happens on long haul flights. It's a 16-hour flight to Dubai, and we had this extra seat. So we could literally lay out, or like I laid out and then Josh laid out, and we, had a little bit of that experience of business class. And I actually put on my stories, I was just like, when you level up so much your identity that the universe literally responds to you in that level of space, that level of experience that we had, which was closer to business class than being in a row, like, squished together next to other people. And I literally said the next the next flight that we go on will be business class. I literally said that on my stories. Anyway, we had an incredible experience over in Europe. There were so many things that happened that were uncovered. We actually got approved for this beautiful apartment that we have moved into, Ocean View in Gold Coast. And on the way back to Australia, as we were sitting in the airport, we just had a hunch, an intuitive hunch to look if there was any business class upgrades. And as we were on there, we noticed that yes, there was a few upgrades, opportunity to upgrade. And you would think that, at the beginning of your trip where you have the money sitting in your account and you're about to go over to Europe, about to spend it all, and we had such a luxurious time over in Europe. So spending a fair bit of money over there, etc., etc. And at this point, we had just finished this incredible trip. It didn't make any logical sense to make this decision to upgrade because we were on our way home, right? We were wrapping up the trip. It didn't make logical sense, but I just knew that this was the opportunity to make this decision because it wasn't about the extra legroom. It wasn't about the actual business class flight itself, but it was about the declaration to ourselves, to the universe of this is who we have stepped into, and this is the level of life that we have calibrated internally to. So it's declaring that we are this version of us right now who is ready for this elevated experience of life. Because we knew that we were coming home, Josh was quitting his job, we were moving to a brand new elevated apartment. Our whole life was about to change. And this was the declaration of that new life beginning. But of course, it was uncomfortable as fuck. I'm not going to sit here and just be like, oh, it was just so easy and effortless to make that decision. No, it made no logical sense. We had just been in Europe for a month, And then Bali before that, we've just paid 4 weeks of unnecessary rent to this new apartment. It was the most illogical decision that we could have made. So we were sitting in the airport and we were going back and forth of should we make this decision? Shouldn't we make this decision? This doesn't make sense, but it's that declaration. So we literally had to rewire any beliefs, any outdated identities that was not in alignment with flying this business class flight. There was emotions that came up to the surface. This was such a quantum leap moment. These are the moments that comprise a quantum leap. It's not the moments where you make decisions that make logical sense, that's like, oh, yes. It's not the moments where you receive that free upgrade to business class in this effortless, beautiful way. It's the moments where you embody that version of you who you say that you are, that $1 million version of you who already has a successful business, who is already living in the dream apartment, who is already confident, successful, etc., etc. This was the moment to embody her, the moments where it doesn't make sense, the least sense. From that space, we knew this was the decision that we were going to make, and it was an investment. So, again, we want to have that investment mindset of this isn't just about a luxury experience and about the extra legroom and the champagne. It's about the declaration of who you are and the life that you are ready to experience. Because when you act and you move from that space, you literally say, I am open to receive. I am open to receive universe. And from that space, we made the investment. And oh my goodness, did it up level us? We entered that plane, that flight, and it was the most incredible experience from start to finish. We first got in that seat and we are just like taking photos and we're so excited and hyped up. And by the end, we had regulated our nervous system so much to that experience that it was just our new normal. So I speak about this all the time. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you were regulated to. So the more that you can put yourself in these experiences, it doesn't mean that you have to fly business class, etc. But the more that you can get yourself closer to that experience, maybe it's upgrading to a bit of extra leg room or, whatever that is for you. But it is putting yourself there and then regulating your nervous system. Like, this is my new normal. I just fly business class. It just makes sense, right? And then from that space, it's like Josh quit his job and then quantum leaped his business in the first week of quitting his job. We moved into the new apartment and everything has just been upgrading and landing in the physical because of all of these decisions that we made, including the upgraded business class experience from the elevated version of us. So, this is how you collapse timelines. When you make decisions before you were ready from the elevated version of you, you invest, you move quickly, you make decisions. And even though they're not easy and they expand you, you are expanding to be able to hold the next level reality because that is how you attract it in. I am not about coaching you on how to just attract one-time thing, one lump sum of money, or one relationship that doesn't last, or a business that you sabotage in 4 months. This is what I help you do. I become the version of you who can actually hold that new reality, who can recreate that month after month, that steps into a whole experience of life that keeps getting bigger and better and more incredible and more fulfilling as well. Because when you step into this level of life, you also unlock what you are here to do, your magic in the world. You become the version of you who is ready to answer the call of your soul mission. And that is done by elevating your identity. And that is why I created Elevate the membership as a space, a low ticket space that's literally $88 a month, where you can come and you can stay as long as you feel called, and you can elevate into the identity of the life that you desire, of the business that you desire, so that you can quantum leap and actually attract what it is that you desire rather than waiting for something to just happen, something to just manifest out of the blue. We are not about that. We are taking back the control of our lives and creating something fucking magical. Because remember, the lucky always comes from within. Until next time, beautiful souls. Bye.